I'm back, and I think we might all have it wrong about the Tesla Cybertruck. Um, we have a few things right. It definitely looks different. Um, it doesn't look anything like the renders that have been floating around the internet for the last couple years, which means it probably doesn't look like what you wanted it to look like. But it does check off a lot of the things that a truck needs. The reason I say we might be wrong about the Tesla Cybertruck started in my head because I'm thinking that I don't want to be the person betting against Elon Musk. And just as people, every time we see something that looks a little different, something that's not what we expect, we tend to be overly critical, and we usually end up being wrong because we're always wrong. Some of us in 2000 thought the Toyota Prius was ugly and it was a vehicle that nobody would ever buy. Wrong. Some of us thought Apple was making a huge mistake by getting rid of the headphone jack. We all got Bluetooth headphones and nobody cares anymore. Speaking of Apple, there was a point where nobody thought that a phone that only had a touchscreen and no physical buttons could take down the champion that was BlackBerry. Okay kids, BlackBerry was a popular cell phone between 2007 through 2009. It had a physical keyboard and a very small screen. The keyboard had approximately 50 buttons. Most of us were taught not to get into cars with strangers, and now everybody uses Uber and Lyft, which is getting into cars with strangers. A lot of you didn't like the Model 3 when it came out. Didn't like the nose, thought it was too pointy, or thought it was weird looking. A lot of people didn't like the screen, the way it was sat in the middle, and it didn't have a screen behind the steering wheel. People didn't think the trunk opening was big enough. And now, a few years later, people are looking at the Model S and wanting it to be more like the Model 3. People thought the Pontiac Aztek was ugly, and that one ended up being, never mind, that one doesn't count. And finally, one that you can all appreciate, Thomas Edison, when talking about Tesla, said fooling around with alternating current was just a waste of time and nobody would ever use it. So even a genius can be loud wrong. So I am going to go back to not doubting the guy that lands rocket boosters. It hasn't even been 48 hours since the launch event, and people who hated it on Thursday have put down deposits today. So as usual, tell me why I'm wrong in the comments.